somehow our 2 days together have already started to come to a close, and we are going to transition to our closing session at this point. I would like to welcome Dr. Olga Bolden Tiller to join us. And she, as many of you know, is a person who wears a great many hats. I'm just going to make sure she's popping over here. All right, I've got you, Dr. Bolden Tiller. Dr. Bolden Tiller wears so many hats. She is a tremendous resource. She's been with Together We Grow since the very first conversation that happened 5 years ago in Washington, D.C. And I will tee her up just a little bit. I know she's a familiar face to many of you, but we asked her to provide our closing remarks today because she has a tremendous perspective. Some of the hats that she wears include Dr. Olga Bolden Tiller is the current president for the National Society of Minorities in Agriculture, Natural Resources, and Related Sciences. She's also the head of the Department of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences, as well as the Assistant Dean of Development for the College of Agriculture, Environment, and Nutrition Sciences at Tuskegee University. And she also recently joined the board for Together We Grow, and we are so delighted to have her here wearing her many hats to provide our closing remarks. So Dr. Olga Bolden Tiller, thank you for being here.
Well, thank you so.
Some technical difficulties, audio difficulties. It's always something. Luckily, we've all been practicing all of our skills in adaptability and flexibility these past many months.
That's right. It definitely speaks to our earlier speakers' chat on giving ourselves a break and such, especially during these times. So I want to just take a moment and share my screen. I do have a couple of slides that I want to share as I close here today. Very excited to be a part of this group for certain. I'll just make that large and share. So thank you so much, Kristen, and thank everyone for being a part of this event. I certainly shared the comments and enthusiasm from Shannon as well as our other presenters in just being a part of this event. As Kristen has indicated, I've had the pleasure of being a part of Together We Grow since its inception, and it's really been impactful for me as well to help be here and help mold, if you would, the direction of the group, and really to just see how an organization such as this would come together and move forward such that we can all meet the goals that we would like to meet. The foresight and commitment into creating this diverse workforce working together in food and ag has been a long thought out process. People have talked about it. We have gone different ways in different silos in addressing this issue. But I think that as we come together, as Together We Grow, it's very indicative of how we can move forward and actually be successful. Together We Grow was a little bit ahead of its time, a little ahead of the curve, if you would, with the establishment of this work and really having a plan and a good plan for bringing individuals from different types of organization and industry together. Again, we as a collective are much stronger together than we have been as individual organizations trying to work. And although many of us have worked together in small groups, it's not been until Together We Grow that we've been able to bring everyone to the table. As we've heard, recent events have really catalyzed folks to realize that everyone is needed, both big and small. A lot of this work in bringing individuals together was initiated by Together We Grow before a lot of these recent events. And for that, I do commend the organization. We know that it is important to involve organizations early, again, big and small. As a professor at an 1890 land grant institution, Tuskegee University, it is sure that we are small but mighty. And to be able to be a part of this organization since its inception has been very instrumental. And I've seen contributions from other organizations, again, large and small, that have been very instrumental into making sure that Together We Grow is the organization that we want it to be, and that it is able to and willing to address broad needs. We've gone through a lot of soul searching as an organization, but because everyone has been at the table, no one had to be on the table. We still have much work to do, but we have been moving forward mightily. One of our speakers, Dr. Davis, talked about critical consciousness. This will lead to intentional engagements and organic relationships. This is what leads to belonging. Sanaya, whom I was very excited to see here unexpectedly, she shared her story, which was eloquently done and emphasized the need to not only be invited to the dance, but to be able and asked to dance. This sense of belonging is critical to the success of what we hope to achieve as Together We Grow. And it cannot be done singularly. It is going to take all of us and the work of all of us to intentionally and consciously make the decision to ensure that everyone who is interested in the food and ag space belongs and feels like they belong. We must ensure that these spaces are available to all who share their desire to work in this space. I always tell the story, it always tickles me, to use one of my mother's favorite words, when we have young people who come from urban spaces who are passionate about food and ag, and they show up on a farm and they are not in the normal or expected farm attire. They may have long nails, they may have be very well groomed, but they are there to work. And I am always chuckling at the end of these experiences when we take students to these spaces and they get in and they do the work. And the next thing you know, at the end of the day, the people who have hosted those students are like, man, they worked really hard. They contributed. They're really smart. I never would have thought this, I never would have thought that those students who maybe were dressed that way or this way would have the passion that they have for agriculture and the food industry. But we need to know that we must give individuals the opportunity to share with us their passions and desires so that we can utilize them and give them the opportunity to contribute to what we need and the issues that we need to solve in the food and ag space. We must think broadly. We must be inclusive. That is the answer. By including all, we will indeed be diverse. And because we include everyone, we will do so equitably. As we close, I reflect on my time in the agricultural space. I often say that I'm an accidental agriculturalist. And then when I really think about it, I say, no, I'm not. I've been doing agriculture my entire life. As an agricultural professional, I have seen over the past few years a transformation in opportunity for more people to be included in the food and agricultural space. These collaborations have been increased when we look at the intersection between our land grant institutions interfacing with each other, 1994, 1862, and the 1890 land grant institutions. I had the opportunity to attend both an 1890 land grant institution, which is a historically Black college or university, Fort Valley State University in Georgia, and subsequently move on to a PhD program at the University of Missouri-Columbia, which is an 1862 institution. As a student, I got a chance to interface with a lot of different people. With my foundation at a historically Black college and university that was an agricultural institution, I had the chance to see professionals, scientists, and many individuals of color who were professionals in this space. So it never occurred to me that that was not an opportunity for me. At Tuskegee University, we have the opportunity to provide such experiences for students as well. These diverse role models are critical. And so as we think about how we will move together, we want to make certain that we are supporting all organizations and what they have to offer. Very excited about the program with 4-H. As a former 4-H'er myself, I was very excited to know and see all of these burgeoning programs. We, of course, have 4-H here at Tuskegee University. And so we, too, look forward to continuing to support these endeavors. This is a success that is only going to be realized if we work together to ensure that cultural competencies are inherent to the work that we do. We must all respect each other and what they each bring to the table in order for us to be successful. In addition to collaborating together as land-grant institutions, it's also critical that we work together with industry as land-grant institutions. I have the fortune to be a part of a huge grant, a $20 million digital agriculture grant that brings together Tuskegee University, the University of Illinois, another land-grant institution, and several other organizations. We are a group of about 11 organizations, but we are working collectively to also work closely with industry partners to make certain that we are including diversity, equity, inclusion, technical training, cultural competencies, et cetera, including soft skills development, which is very important, into this Institute for Digital Agriculture to make sure that we have a workforce that is ready for success. Another great example is Cargill. We have some of them here on the call today. And so Cargill has decided to partner with Tuskegee University. This is a new initiative. Again, the past few months, in a little over a year, has resulted in new opportunity for a variety of organizations. And so we're able to, at Tuskegee University, connect with Cargill in a way that we had not been able to do before, so that we can focus on workforce development of diverse individuals. As a leader in manners, individuals and organizations have been catalyzed. This is something that in my role as the president of the National Society that I have been able to see, and it has been very powerful and really empowered me to be able to do what's next, to ask the hard questions, to ensure that the tough conversations are had so that we can all move forward. As Sanaya indicated, she had the opportunity to work with me as a part of one of the pre-college summer programs that I direct here at Tuskegee University, indicated below in bullet number 6. But a lot of my passion and work that I have had the opportunity to do in working with young people has been initiated because of the belonging that I was able to establish as a member of the Manners organization. Today, as Kristen indicated, I wear quite a few hats, and happily so, including serving as a professor of animal sciences here at Tuskegee University, as well as one of the assistant deans and department heads for our Department of Ag and Environmental Sciences. But I also felt a sense of belonging in this ag space, that I was able to make connections with the World Food Prize Foundation to now serve as the state director for the Alabama Youth Institute, and also formerly one of the advisors for our Manners chapter and the Junior Manners Liaison, which highlights opportunities for pre-college students, particularly those in middle school and high school. But my journey to being this professional all began long ago when I was a member of 4-H. I remember being in the 4th grade and going to the library with my class and learning about 4-H and being involved in the poultry science judging team, never thinking that I would become an animal scientist, but having those experiences around people who were nurturing, who were excited about the things that excited me. I also had the opportunity to go and take part in Future Homemakers of America, now known as FCCLA, and also be a member of FFA. And all of these things happened during my K through 12 education, which led me to a land grant institution, Fort Valley State University, where I received my BS. My experiences there, interfacing with individuals through internships, including with the USDA, other colleges and universities, as well as industries within the ag space, led me to the desire to pursue my PhD at the University of Missouri, of course, another land grant institution. In between time, after that, I did postdoc at MD Anderson Cancer Center. However, my thrive, my passion, my excitement all stemmed on academia. And not just academia for just research sake, but using my experiences and wanting to work with other youth as they found themselves excited about agriculture and science, which led me to my role at Tuskegee University. Again, during this time, from the time I was at Fort Valley, I was a member of Manners, Minorities in Agriculture, Natural Resources, and Related Sciences. A sense of belonging, a place to be, a place to thrive, but also see others who look like me thrive, which is what led to the establishment of that organization. And because of the impact that it had on my life, it was very important for me to give back and be a part of the leadership, which I am in that current role. But my leadership in the agricultural space is not limited to Manners. It's broader than that. It's bigger than me. It also has to stem to the entire food and ag industry. And so when we look at things, we think about these different opportunities. It's critical that we are broadening opportunities for all individuals. Oscar Gonzalez talked about the importance of the private sector in helping provide opportunities in rural areas. I'm from a rural area, a one red light town in Homerville, Georgia. And I now live in Tuskegee, which is also a rural area in Alabama, which most of Alabama is. And it's been a pleasure to work with individuals in rural areas in the Alabama Black Belt. But irrespective of where we are, when we go to urban spaces and we're working with individuals in urban areas, it is true that capital, workforce, and access to capital are going to be the driving forces of success. In fact, the story of the establishment of Tuskegee University itself is a prime example. Booker T. Washington is known as a great leader. He was a great leader by establishing Tuskegee University, but he was a great leader for his time and all time. He's one of the few diverse individuals that we get a chance to read about in our current history books. But Tuskegee University, or the establishment of Tuskegee University, is an exact example of the import of having access to capital, capital and workforce. And what Booker T. Washington did, he had to go beyond Alabama, beyond the South, to work with and interface with private industry to help identify funds to start to gain and access capital that could be used for the establishment and support of Tuskegee University. For workforce, he created the workforce. The students of Tuskegee University are the individuals who actually built the buildings. When an individual comes to the Tuskegee University campus, these structures are still here, and they were built by the students. Bricks, funds were limited to buy bricks. So bricks were made by the students of Tuskegee University. So we have to be broad in our thinking. How will we not only train a workforce, how do we create a workforce where sometimes there doesn't seem to be one? They are there. It is our job to be thoughtful of this. We want to think about the entire journey. The entire journey is important, from junior high and high school all the way to the professional space. The connections that we make along the way are critical. This is how we form these organic relationships. These organic relationships lead to conscious connectivity, critical consciousness, how we think about how we respond to individuals, how we include individuals. These connections are critical. I'm sorry about that. These connections are critical. One of the most fulfilling parts of what I do and of who I am is seeing young people and young professionals fulfill their educational and career goals in the food and ag space. Storytelling is foundational to this. It's a foundational part of our culture in general, and it is also a foundational part of who we become. Stories matter. So it is very critical, as Patton indicated, that we have these stories. They may be uncomfortable for some in order to create comfort and belonging for others, but as we all get a chance to tell our stories, we all can be included. And this is going to be very important with us making the next steps. We must continue to evolve and innovate to ensure that we are reaching everyone. Russell and his team talked about the nature of storytelling in 2021. It's not pictures and paintings on the side of a cave. That's a form of historic storytelling. It's not words on a page of a book that you hold in your hand. And increasingly, it's not even a digital magazine. It's 140 characters. How do you tell the story? It's a couple of pictures. How do we tell the story? And because we have to tell everyone's story, including our youth of today, it's critical that they are included and feel like we're connecting with them on their level. And so with that, I close. Thank you so much, Kristen, for having me. I look so forward to all of the work that we will continue to do together with Together We Grow. And all of you who are on the call, the challenge is put before you to continue to see how can you work with others so that we all can grow together.
Dr. Olga Bolden, thank you for closing us out. I love your comments. We have done so much work in this past year, and we've got a lot more ahead of us. So let's get to work. Thank you.
Thank you.